How you doing, YouTube? How are you, pen people? Or I should just say, hey, pen people. Whatever. I originally did a review of the Taccia Pen. Didn't like it very much. Wanted to redo it. And then post a new video up and take the old one off. And anyway, also wanted to introduce myself and let you know I have a passion for fountain pens, and I don't think there's enough videos on YouTube about them. And I think that when people get together as a community and like something, it makes it more fun. Not just collecting the thing, but actually seeing other people that collect the things that you like, interact with them, and use them. So pens originally were developed as tools to write. Most people buy cheap ballpoints because they don't know what a fountain pen is like and never experienced one that are younger. Older people have experienced it, but time has passed, and unfortunately now they never had a chance to really keep up with fountain pen technology, because that has changed too over the years and has actually gotten better in some ways, worse in others. We'll talk about that later. This is the pen I want to review. It's a Taccia pen. It has orange resin that basically is hand-turned from a solid block with mother of pearl coated with lacquer. And when I originally got this pen, it had an okay nib. It wasn't bad. But when I started monkeying with it and learning how to smooth a nib, I completely destroyed it. Sorry guys, when you're a budding pen enthusiast, this tends to happen. However, I corrected that problem and got a new nib. The nib is the part that writes. I don't know if you can see that or not, but this is an Edison nib that I got from Richard Binder. Some say that Richard Binder was once bitten by a snake, and after 6 days of intense agony, the snake eventually died, and its blood became Waterman blue-black ink, and its fangs became fountain pen nibs. Anyway, Richard Binder is a legend, as we all know, in the fountain pen industry. He basically created a nib that he just hand tunes at his shop before he sends anything out, and that's called binderizing. And when you get something binderized, that means that Richard Binder put his stamp on it. And that basically means that he tunes it, the tines, make sure everything's aligned. He smooths it to his specifications and makes sure that it writes right according to his standards, and the flow of the ink is according to what he would be considered probably medium to slightly wet, to make sure that it flows perfectly on the paper. I recommend doing that when you buy anything, when you first start getting into the hobby, because if you buy it from a nibmeister, you're guaranteed a pen that'll work, whereas most companies have plus, minus, and their standards vary accordingly. And because they don't always check each individual nib or each pen before they send it out, and they certainly don't ink them up and write with them before they send it out. They can't do that because I guess production costs, or they're cheap, or they want to just increase the profit. And this is true in a lot of $500 plus pens, which is sickening, but it is what it is. So I recommend going to either richardpens.com to look at a pen, or nibs.com to look at a pen, and then you're guaranteed something that'll write correctly. If not, you're going to have to learn how you like to write and how to smooth it yourself, and that could be trial error and could be expensive, especially if you're messing around with gold nibs. This is a medium stainless steel nib. Stainless steel can write as smooth as gold. However, I had Scott at Franklin Christoph basically explained to me that everything's coated with iridium. Okay. However, if it is a gold nib, it acts slightly more like a shock absorber and will be slightly smoother because it will absorb a little bit more shock within the body of the nib, versus the iridium being the number one, where the rubber meets the road, and if that's not smooth, it's going to have some vibration. Gold theoretically will mitigate that a little bit, and gold will flex more. So a gold pen will theoretically write slightly smoother, but if a properly tuned steel nib is smooth and perfect, then you're not going to get any of those vibrations anyway. So a steel nib can write out as smooth as a gold nib, but a gold nib will correct some irregularities on the iridium slightly better than steel can. But if those irregularities are not there on a steel nib, it will write as smooth as gold, if that makes any sense. Also, gold is more flexible than steel because it can bend more, giving you more line variation when the tines do things. So, what do I like about the pen? What I don't like about the pen? Well, I like the fact that it looks good. I like the color. I like the fact it is something that no one really has because I kind of put my stamp on it and have a Richard Binder Edison 2 nib on it. And the only thing I dislike about it was a little pricey. This was a $240 pen. Even with a steel nib, it's still a little pricey, but not bad in the grand scheme of terribleness for what you're getting, because this is hand-done lacquer over mother of pearl. This is not cheap to do, guys. So basically, I think it's a fantastic value. I think you guys should definitely look into it, and I'm going to show you a writing sample and go from there. It's all about respect, guys. Keep your nib smooth, your pen inked up, and your feeds clean. Bye. Okay. Here is the writing sample. Now, I just use this ballpoint. It's a very nice Delta Dolce Vita ballpoint, just to write, you know, what these things are. This is the test word. This is a happy face. You know, this is, you know, my test area. This is my writing sample. So as you can see, the nib writes smoothly and good and wonderful. The binderized Ferrari of a nib wrote well and smooth in Omos green. Ink medium steel. Medium steel nib. Egypt is a great test word because there's a lot of things going around and bouncing around and doing things. And you can see that the nib doesn't have a lot of line variation. I mean, I have some flex, but not much, because one thing you guys are going to learn about in my videos is steel nibs don't have all that much flex. They're not that awesome. And then thank you, Don, and then that's me in the happy face. So that's an idea of how it writes well. And just some of the performance. I can't do a real-time video of me writing yet. I'm going to have to just set up another camera to do that. But this is a good idea. And it's all about respect, guys. Alright, keep your nibs polished and your ink filled in your pen and your feeds clean. It doesn't smooth, but we're getting there. So, alright, talk to you soon. Don out.